Do you think Greta Thunberg helped or hurt the whole climate change conversation? I have a weird feeling that she didn't help the way she wanted to. I think it's great that she brings attention to it because bringing attention to it's good. You know, even if we determine, no matter what you determine about it, focusing on it makes sense because it's at least potentially a huge problem. You know, you might believe it's not, but it's certainly potentially one. So I'm glad she focused on it. But I think the indirect effect of that is that the topic was associated with children. Because remember, we are just as much influenced by association as we're, in fact, more influenced by associations of things that overlap, things that are with other things, people who are photographed with other people who said the same thing as somebody else, somebody acts in the way that somebody else acted. So just associations are very powerful in our mental map, whereas sometimes common sense and rational logic and stuff, not so much. So I think the net effect of Greta is that she associated this potentially massive problem of climate change with something kids worry about. Think about it. When you think of climate change, who do you think of? Who are your first people you think of? Well, there's AOC. You think of Greta. You think of Capri. What's his name? The actor. So you think of a few actors. But basically, if Greta becomes the voice of climate change, it makes the topic seem less serious in a way that I don't think people understand. Now, on the logic level, you'd say, whoa, climate change will hurt children more than it will adults because they have to be around for the aftermath, the children do. So therefore, it is a children's problem, and isn't it great that there's a child, teenager who is the champion of it? It all makes sense, right? So on a logical level, all makes sense. But on a less than logical level, where we all exist, it looks like it became a Santa Claus story or a boogeyman or a monster under the bed. Because when you see a woman, not a woman, but a young girl who's literally still a child, and she's the face of this, you merge in your heads those things. Climate change, a child's issue. Climate change, something children worry about. Climate change, it's not for adults, it's about children. Now, none of that makes sense because Greta was doing an adult job to fix an adult problem. But I worry that it backfired. I don't know if that's a worry, but it's just a question. Because remember, we are just as much influenced by association as we're, in fact, more influenced by associations of things that overlap, things that are with other things, people who are photographed with other people who said the same thing as somebody else, somebody acts in the way that somebody else acted. So just associations are very powerful in our mental map, whereas sometimes common sense and rational logic and stuff, not so much. So I think the net effect of Greta is that she associated this potentially massive problem of climate change with something kids worry about. May have worked in the opposite direction. We'll see. No way to really measure that kind of thing. But I give her credit. I'm typically complimentary to anybody who gets in the octagon. Anybody who's willing to take the slings and arrows to fight for something that they think will make the world a better place, if they really mean it, I tend to be very positive. So I'm very positive on Greta for stepping up, trying to fix something. Now, you can argue that she's doing it the right or wrong way, or you could argue that it's not as big a problem, but I think you have to give her respect for stepping up there and trying to do something.